So, this week we uploaded another Creators Corner episode featuring Nick Henderson, host of the Four Player podcast. And we had a really great time. Go check it out if you want to hear us goofing around and talking about video games and all sorts of other stuff. I'll link it up above in the annotations. But I thought it would be a good week to talk about my favorite YouTubers, which is a video that I've wanted to make for a while. However, I have a massive list in front of me here, so I'm going to do this in 2 or more parts and upload them from time to time when I have the time to edit them. One thing starting the channel has done for me is make me appreciate YouTubers and other content creators so much more for the work that they put into their channel. And a lot of these guys do it as a hobby, bringing everyone basically free content because they love doing it. Now, some lucky few have managed to make a real living from doing it, and that's awesome. I think that that's probably the dream for most of us. But the overwhelming majority, especially in the booktube community, are still working a 9 to 5 and also coming home and editing content for all of us. Nowadays, I'm watching significantly less television on streaming services like Netflix and Hulu and whatnot, and watching way more on YouTube from independent creators. And because I'm taking advantage of so much free content, I like to take the money that I'd usually be putting into a streaming service and support their Patreons or their membership programs or whatever they have, because if nothing else, it'll help pay for their Adobe Premiere subscription. This video brought to you by Adobe Premiere. I'll have all these channels linked below, as well as their Patreon pages if you'd like to support them as well. Many of them have an entry-level tier for as little as $3 a month, and I know from experience that every little pledge helps for independent creators. But I will deign to step down from my soapbox for now and share with you some of my favorite YouTubers. These aren't necessarily ranked, but there are a couple that are definitely my current favorites. Not all of these are booktubers. A lot of them are just other YouTubers that talk about video games or movies or other stuff. You guys will see, but there are a few familiar faces that you guys will recognize from the booktube space. So starting out, we have Kinda Funny, and I've been watching these guys for a long time now. They do a lot of different content. I feel like they used to be primarily gaming, and they still are, I suppose, but they've really branched out into other stuff, as you can see here. They do like movie reviews and TV shows. They even have like a do you guys remember like Dr. Drew's Love Line? They kind of have that thing going on, which is really funny. They have a game show called Kinda Feudy, which is really fun to watch, where it's like a trivia night for all of them. And then they have just various reviews and breakdowns of trailers and TV shows and whatnot. They have live shows. Like one night they all did stand-up comedy at like an open mic night, which was really cool. The roast of Tim Geddes, it was one of the hosts, Tim, it was his birthday, and they basically sat him down and roasted him, and it's super super funny. So that's really really fun to watch. They have Kinda Funny Live, which are these big events where they have all of the fans of the show come out, and like this is a big show. Like it's pretty high production. And then they also have the Kinda Funny podcast, and if you can't tell, I watch this religiously every single week. It's kind of where we got the idea for Fantasy Files After Dark, which you can check out on Patreon, and also kind of the idea behind the Creators Corner. And really, it's just them sitting down and talking about just various topics, and sometimes they have guests on and whatnot, but it's mostly just their time to hang out and do some off-topic discussion and kind of dicking around, and it's super super funny. On the other side of their podcast, they have Kinda Funny Games, and this is their like game reviews where they will like do big like series breakdowns of things like Legend of Zelda or Assassin's Creed, and they'll do like a big video essay on it. Or they have their Kinda Funny Games Daily, which is their basically like a news show every single week or every single day. Sorry, they sit down and they talk about the news for gaming for that day, and just kind of talk about some of the big stuff that's happening.
Zelda wasn't the only big contributor to Nintendo's bottom line. The April 5th release of the Super Mario Bros. Movie was enormous. Nintendo said as of July 30th, a whopping 168.1 million people worldwide have now seen the movie. And as of July 26th, global box office revenue hit $1.349 billion.
So, anyways, you can kind of see what they're doing here. They, they talk about video games, talk about movies, and they just kind of hang out and have a good time. And these guys, I've been watching them for a long time now. They used to be over at IGN doing podcasts and different shows for them, primarily a PlayStation podcast called IGN Beyond. And then they decided to leave that company, like that big safe paycheck that they were getting from there, and they went out and started their own thing. And they went from running a podcast literally in a spare bedroom to then going to an actual studio where they kind of rented the upstairs of this house and they had all their equipment and whatnot up there. And then the pandemic happened and they were all stuck at home. So they were having to do it through Discord or Zoom or whatever they were using. And then just recently, I'll try to find this, they got this massive space where they can do their podcasting and all sorts of different shows. And it's enabled them to do a lot more than they ever were doing before. And so they got like this whole, this whole warehouse where, see, this is where they were before. There's just this little tiny room. They were able to move from this little tiny space to this massive studio that they're in now. And I think it is absolutely incredible. I think it could not have happened to a better group of people. These guys are so fantastic with their community and their support for people. And yeah, it's just one of those things where you love to see these kind of guys succeed. And I'm so glad that they have. So then we have Mike's book reviews, and he's been on the channel a couple times now, I think. And he's really great to watch. He does a lot of like typical booktuber stuff. He used to do a lot more reviews than he does nowadays, but he's had like big name authors on like Pierce Brown, Ryan Cahill, Richard Swan. Who else did he have? Oh, he had Bookborn on, James Islington. He's had like quite a few big names on his channel. I think he even had like Jim Butcher on at one point. But I got into him around the time that he was doing his first Dresden Files read through. So I've been watching him for a couple of years now. And he does stuff like he's got like a weekly update. He does some topical stuff like the 10 sexiest special edition or collector's edition books. And he'll still do his review and favorite second books in series and whatnot, but he has like book hauls and monthly updates. And I think something that's cool about him too is he'll like break down the stats of his channel. So he'll tell everybody how many subscribers he got that month, or how, if his views are going up or if they're going down. And I think that's really cool. You don't really see that kind of transparency a whole lot with content creators. But mostly I just enjoy his content because it really does feel like it feels like you're sitting down with your favorite uncle or your dad or something and just talking about fantasy books and how your week was. And it's just really enjoyable. Like, I love to listen to Mike literally talk about anything. He's so kind of casual with the way that he films his stuff. I really love it. Like, he sits there with his cup of coffee and he'll sip on it while he talks about books and whatnot. And more than anything, he is just a really awesome dude. Like, I love to support this guy. I think he's probably one of the nicest people in the community. I've had a lot of really, really great interactions with him. Even though there's some things that we very much disagree on, I really like his attitude of, we can totally disagree on things and still be friends, and that's totally fine. And so I really like that about him, and I like to support his channel. So definitely go subscribe to Mike's Book Reviews if you're looking for some booktube content. And then we have oh shoot, how did that get in there, guys? Maybe maybe support these guys if you haven't already. Maybe subscribe. You know, wouldn't it be so funny if I wasn't subscribed to my own podcast? That'd be so awesome. But then we have Wolfe the Story Nomad, aka Cam Wolfe. He also has a second channel called Cam Wolfe is Writing, where he talks about like writing advice and stuff like that. He's written, let me see if the video's around here somewhere. He's written this book, Blood for Coins.
So
And it's really fantastic. I really enjoyed this book. It's kind of just like a fun adventure story about these two guys that are kind of mercenaries. They kind of just go wherever money is available, and they do various jobs, whether it's thieving or killing or whatever. And it was a really good time. There's an audiobook for it. I really enjoyed the audiobook. I thought the narrator was good. But anyway, this isn't a book review. This is a channel review, kind of. But yeah, I really like Cam Wolfe. He's been on for a Creators Corner episode, and just a really nice guy. Another one of those people where every interaction that I've had with him has just been so incredibly pleasant. And I'm sorry, I'm in the way here. My bad. He's just a cool dude. But he doesn't really do a whole lot of reviews. He does more like topical discussions, like video essays, like you can see here. Why even read fantasy anymore? He did a Witcher season 3 reaction, 10 must read fantasy series recommendations. So he does a lot of this kind of stuff, but he's just got a great personality. Like I love just tuning in to hear him talk, and you'll hear me say that about a lot of these YouTubers is, sometimes you just find somebody who just has an awesome personality, and it's like I would literally just listen to you talk about anything. So yeah, I really enjoy his content. I think a lot of the things he brings to the table as far as these various topics and whatnot are very insightful and well thought out, and his videos are just constructed really well. So then we have Luke Stevens, and this guy is not booktube. He is actually a video game content creator, and I really enjoy his channel because he is really critical of video games, and he thinks about video games in a more analytical way than I as a casual consumer do. Here at the Fantasy Files, we're reading so many books every year and talking about them so often that we often get very kind of nitty gritty about what we like and what we don't like, and we get really specific about certain parts of the story that we believe are written well or not written well. However, when it comes to video games, I'm a pretty casual consumer of video games. Most of you know by this point, I really love them. I really love playing video games. But at the same time, I'll pick up a video game, like I'll pick up Fallout 4 and I'll play it and I'll be like, that was awesome. I had a great time with that video game. And, I may have a couple complaints along the way, but I don't really think about it too much, But someone like Luke Stevens, he's looking at these video games with almost like a movie critic's kind of view. And he's like, what works and what doesn't, and what was promised by the developers and wasn't delivered upon. And he looks into the industry and just gets into like the real nitty gritty of some of these video games. And I really appreciate that because I feel like a lot of video game YouTubers out there are maybe a little bit more like me, or like aiming to please someone like me, where it's like, check out this video game. This is what it's about. This is what the combat looks like. Let's have a great time. And there is totally a time and place for those videos. I watch many of those content creators and I love them dearly. But Luke just brings something completely different to the table that I really, really enjoy. And I always feel like I walk away from his videos having learned something, and just his insight into the industry and video games as a whole. There was this one video he did a little while back where he was looking at Hogwarts Legacy, and which is a game that I'm playing and absolutely loving. But he was looking at the map, and he found a way to figure out this is how detailed he gets. He figured out in between points of interest on the map, how long would it take you if you're flying through the map? How long would it take you between each point of interest? And is that enough time to get bored? Like, is there enough on the map that is interesting, that is keeping your attention held and glued to the screen? And like, he broke it down by the numbers. It's really, really specific and really awesome. But that was one of those videos where I'm like, oh, so that's how they think about, building a map when the devs are working on these games and stuff. And so anyway, not to belabor it too much, but I really love this channel. I'm really hoping to get him onto our channel to talk a little bit on a Creators Corner episode. Luke, if you're watching this, I hope to hear from you at some point. But he's also got this secondary channel where he does all his live streaming. And this is really fun to watch because it's the same, like, I like it for the same reasons. He does the same thing, but he's doing it live and you can interact with him, and he does it for longer. And so it's just another one of those guys. Like I said, I know I'm gonna be saying this a lot throughout this video, but he's just one of those people that you just love to listen to. Like, I would listen to this guy talk about anything. So yeah, a lot of fun. I really like this channel, guys. You should go check it out if you're even remotely interested in video games. He's convinced me to pick up games that I probably wouldn't have in the past, and also games that I've been a little bit overhyped for. He's helped to kind of bring those expectations down to a reasonable level. That's kind of one of his taglines, is hype makes you stupid. And I really appreciate his views on that, because there's been times in my life where I've gotten way overhyped for a game, and then when I picked it up, I was pretty disappointed to quite a serious degree. And so he kind of helps to shed the light on some of the games that people might be a little overhyped for. Next up, we have Captured in Words. This is Jay from Captured in Words, and he does the way that I found him is his King Killer Chronicles videos, and they are so well done. His editing is incredible, and he gathers all this information about various theories and just like little things that you may have missed while reading through the first time. And so his channel is the best place to go to if you've just finished the King Killer Chronicles for the first time or the 30th time. He has so many good videos on all of this stuff, and they're so well done. His audio and video are impeccable, as are his editing skills, as I'm sure you can see behind me at some point. He is a master of transitions between pictures and video and all sorts of stuff. It's all really, really good, and he's really insightful and well spoken, and all of his things that he brings up are just like, I didn't think about that in that way before. And it's really cool. I really like listening to Jay, and he just seems like genuinely a good dude. Like, he seems like a guy that I would love to just hang out with for a couple hours. Also, someone that I'm trying to get on the podcast. So, Jay, if you're watching this, hit me up. But also, he does, just booktuber stuff, like top 10 guides, top 20 characters, Reader's Advanced Guide to Fantasy and Fiction, terrible book covers. I love his reactions. They're so funny whenever he does like a reaction to bad book covers or something. That's always a good laugh. Best fantasy character nicknames and titles. They're all just like really creative videos. I never really know what I'm going to get with this channel, but it's always good. And every time I see a, King Killer theory or something pop up, that's always something that I definitely pay attention to because he's so insightful with it. So definitely, if somehow you're watching our channel and haven't seen Captured in Words, then definitely go check that out because it is a really really great time. And lastly, we have my number one favorite YouTube channel right now. This is what I was talking about earlier when I was saying, some of these kind of are ranked. And I think this channel and Luke Stevens are my top two favorite YouTube channels to watch right now. I support them on Patreon because I think that they both just do such incredible work. But the Y Files is so good because it's like it kind of harkens back to what would be on like cable TV or something. You know what I mean? Like it's a very high production show. Every single video is like at least 30 minutes long, if not longer. Very, very high production quality with, he goes and hunts down videos and pictures, and he's got like a whole set that he does his work on. So it's really cool. But what is the Y Files? AJ is the host essentially, and he's got this little animated fish called Hecklefish. I'll open up one of these videos so that you can see, so I'm not just talking in front of a home page. But yeah, so AJ, basically it's AJ and Hecklefish. AJ and Hecklefish. Oh, my camera won't. He's over there. But yeah, he's got this little animated fish who heckles him, and he's kind of a dick, and it's really funny to see the banter between the two of them. But they basically talk about like urban legends, and I guess you could call them like conspiracy theories. Like in the one behind me, he's talking about crop circles and if they're real or not. And I know that, a lot of people, there's a certain group of people that would be like, oh, why would I want to watch a channel about conspiracy theories or whatever? But AJ brings a really unique perspective to all of this because first and foremost, he's an entertainer. He loves the stories, and he loves, hearing about a UFO sighting and digging into it and being like, well, what is the story? What are people saying about it? And he'll do that for a while, and then near the end, he'll be like, okay, what's the reality of the situation though, and what is actually happening? What evidence do we have to debunk this, or can we not debunk it? And the video that's playing behind me right now, the crop circle video, is probably one of my favorites because it's one of the very few that he was able to debunk some things, but for the most part there wasn't a whole lot that you can really debunk. And so it's fun to kind of leave a video with like, oh, it's like an unexplained mystery and I don't know how it all happened or whatever. And so it's really fun to just tag along for these videos, and his personality and of course Hecklefish, they're so much fun to listen to. And they just have such a great like chemistry and back and forth and whatnot. It's on every Thursday, 6 o'clock my time. I don't know what it would be for some of you guys in other states. And I sit down every single week to watch this show. Like I don't think I've missed a single episode yet, because it just feels like that weekly thing that you want to tune in for. Like it's going to be on at a certain time, and you make time for it, and you sit down and you watch a show just like you would back in the old days before like TiVo or anything like that. Although this is on YouTube, so you can watch it whenever you want, but it's more fun to watch it with everybody because it's set as like a live premiere, so you can interact in the chat. And then after these like main videos, he has an after files type thing where after the main episode, he'll basically do a live show with his whole team. It's like him, his wife, his brother, and Victoria, which I think I can't remember exactly what she does. She's like an assistant. And they all sit down and just kind of chat about the episode, and they'll talk about other things that popped up in the news relating to the episode and whatnot. Um, and so all of the topics that he does are really, really interesting. He did one on a time traveler that people, I guess, like weren't able to debunk for a long time, and he really does his homework. Like each of these episodes, they take like weeks or sometimes months where he's gathering information and talking to people and digging stuff up from records and like CIA files that have been released and whatnot. And yeah, he's really, really, really putting the work in on this show. And I really appreciate all the work that he does because it makes a fantastic product in the end, and it's so much fun to watch. So, anyways, I'll try to stop gushing, but please, it, like I know it's very dissimilar to our content, but if you think that we have good opinions on this kind of stuff, then definitely go check out the Y Files because I legitimately, no matter where you fall on the conspiracy theory like spectrum, I think you will still have a fantastic time with this show. You'll either really enjoy the debunking or you'll really enjoy the story of the urban legend or whatever it is that week. And so I think that there's really something for anyone, no matter where you fall on that spectrum. So please, please go check out the Y Files. They are absolutely fantastic. And it's kind of wild in the past year, or no, not even that, in the past like 8 months or so, he's gone from, I think when I started watching him, he was at like 200,000 subscribers, maybe. And then just recently, didn't he just pass 2 million? Yeah, he's at 2.5 million now. And so, people are enjoying this channel for a reason. That's all I can say. So definitely go check him out there if you think that would interest you. It's always super fun time. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to stop there and give you a chance to go check out these awesome creators. I hope that you'll find a channel that you'll enjoy. I've gotten so much enjoyment from all of these channels. They've influenced books that I've read and loved and games that I decided to play that I normally wouldn't have, and even changed my opinions on just various topics in real life, or just given me a place to indulge my love of certain franchises and series. And then I'll be back sometime in the future with more of these. I have so many more content creators that I would love to give a shout out to on our channel and just kind of show them to you guys and talk about why I love them, because honestly, that's one of my favorite parts about the Creators Corner episodes that we do, where I can just have these people on and just be able to and just like tell them why I love their content. So I really enjoyed doing this episode. I hope that you guys really enjoyed it, and I hope that you found a new channel to love. If you want to reach out to us, the comment section below is always an option, or you can reach out to us on Twitter or Discord, linked in the description. And I know we talked about Patreon earlier. If you'd like to, you could support us on Patreon, where you can get exclusive content with more coming soon. We definitely need to record some more exclusive content. But if you want to support us, it helps pay for our Adobe Premiere and other subscription services that we use for this channel. But no matter what, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. And a big shout out to our first Night Angel tier patron, Shad Zaman. Thank you so much, man.